Hello and welcome to Mommy Dentist and Business Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grace Yum. And, again, I always start my podcast episodes by thanking everyone for being here and for listening because honestly, I wouldn't be doing this podcast for 8 years and dropping an episode every Friday, minus Christmas week and minus New Year's week. Because, yeah, I need a break during Christmas and New Year's because it's kind of crazy. I'm justified to take those 2 weeks off, but I just want to say thank you because honestly, without you guys, we wouldn't be here and doing this. And today I am so excited and I love having our guest on. He's a repeat guest. And honestly, we always bring him back on because you all love him and you all love his company. And we've got more to talk about because I feel like every episode is short and we're always like, we need another hour. So here we are again with a repeat guest speaker who our community trusts and values. Please, and if you're new here, please meet Joshua Scott, CEO of Studio 88 and seasoned marketing speaker. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Grace, you not only have been doing this for, what'd you say, 8 years, the podcast,
Yeah.
but I mean, you have this is one of the most downloaded podcasts in dentistry. It's always one of the top high-ranking ones. So not only have you just consistently produced content, but you've also done it at a high level with a community that really engages with it. I know every time I'm around, we were just speaking for you in Chicago a week or two ago, and what I always love about your events and your audiences are so engaged. And whether it's the podcast or webinars or social or events, there's just a consistency there. So yeah,
Thank
congrats.
you. Thank you so much. And again, I attribute it to everybody who's in our group, our community. And it doesn't mean it's just mom dentist because this podcast goes out to everyone. It's all of our allies, all of our people that support us in our orbit. And what I find, that saying that's so cliche, you find your people or your vibe attracts your hive or your tribe. And I find that to be so, so true. And, you're one of our Hive people, and we're so grateful for you and Joanna and your team. Everyone is just so polished. And honestly, if people know me, I'm a stickler of when it comes to trust. I'm a stickler when it comes to excellence. I'm a stickler when it comes, I'm just a picky person. And I think that's why people stick around, right? Because it's not just like a come and go type of situation. And Studio 80 has been with us for years, and I know our community members trust and respect you guys. So for those of our listeners that are new, can you just kind of briefly tell our new listeners what you do and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, yeah. Owner and CEO of Studio 88. We call ourselves Dentistry's story-driven growth agency because that's really what marketing is about, is growing your practice. And we're into our 13th year now. Before that, I was with a practice management group for 12 years. So I've been around dentistry for 25 years now, which just feels really crazy to say that. But always on the marketing side. So even when I was with them, I was my boss then would he had me do some lectures at our CE events around marketing, and he would send me into offices, and
Mm,
Josh helped him put together a marketing plan. And so I quickly realized, and this was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, dental marketing was not good. In a lot of
mhm,
ways, it's not good now still, but back then it was even worse.
mhm, mhm,
But also, I think because I didn't come into dentistry from a clinical standpoint, I kind of fell into it accidentally. So it was a profession that I always thought was innovative, inspiring. It's a beautiful profession of humans serving humans. And so when I thought about marketing, I was like, why do I never see that story being told?
mm,
Because every time you looked around, it was templated websites and stock photos and the direct
mhm,
mail with the free offer coupon, that you'd cut out or
mhm.
whatever. And just thought like, man, this is such I respect this profession so much. Can we tell a better story
Yeah.
around it? And that's really what Studio 88 was born from.
Well, I love that because I want to tell you, when I moved to California 5 years ago, I had to find all new providers for me
Yeah.
and my children and my husband. And I found for the first time in a long time, because when you leave your community and you have to find a whole new community and you don't know anybody, what do? You go online because you can't get
Yeah.
like a personal reference, right? So I'm online checking out everybody else's website, and it's so true. Like you can tell kind of just by the look and feel of someone's website how that person is or that practice philosophy or that
Yeah.
practice, and I'm like, okay, pass, pass. And then you do the, Yelp reviews, the Google
Yeah.
reviews, and the online reviews, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. But you do, when you're searching for a provider, you're looking at all of these things, right? And sometimes I think as dentists, especially when we've been rooted in our community for so long, right? Like it's kind of like the
Yeah.
saying, like, everyone in church knows you. We all go to each other, right?
Yeah.
You don't bother looking at your online stuff. Like you don't bother looking at what other people are looking at you, right? And so my first question really is like, why are people calling, like, why do dentists call you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At what
Um,
point, I guess, at what point are they calling you? I guess there's many different reasons, but
Yeah. No, it's such a great question. It's funny you say that because when you're in that experience, you're in a new state, you're looking for new healthcare advisors, partners. You want this. You're probably looking for long-term relationships. You're like, okay, I need to reset some of this. You're literally just asking for somebody in a digital like space to raise their hand and go, hey, we care and we think you should choose us. And sometimes just even finding that is hard.
yeah.
I was on a text message conversation today with a GP he showed me a screenshot, but he had a patient. He was referring to an endodontist. He's one
Yeah.
of our clients, and his text message was, disregard his website. He's a great doctor. And he was sending it to me like, is that wrong to say? And I was like, no. I'm like, you obviously have tremendous respect for this endodontist, but you also know you're texting a patient who's very digitally based and going, just don't look at his website. Trust me, he's a great doctor. And so
Oh my
yeah, so
God.
many times we're trying to overcome that. Um, why do clients or potential or doctors reach out to us? I think the quick answer, the easy answer is they want marketing. But why do they want marketing? They want to grow their practice. And that's really why we've reframed ourselves. Are we a
Mm,
digital agency? 100%. But it's really about growth. And one of the things I've really poured into my team and trained them is nobody wants to throw 2000, 2500, whatever away every month just to check off a marketing box. Like there's nothing in dentistry that says you need to do marketing. It's we want to either grow our practices or accelerate that growth. And really the conversation is about we want to get more attention for our practices.
mhm,
And so
mhm.
that's why they come to us is either they have a great practice and they're like, okay, we need to accelerate it a little bit. We've got something really good. How do we add some fuel to that fire? Maybe we're adding an
Yeah.
associate, expanding all those things.
Right.
Or, you started a practice and maybe it's harder than you thought. And
Hmm.
I think in today's world, not having a marketing budget is almost the exception when it
Mm.
comes to starting a practice. Like it's dentistry is competitive enough in the last 5 to 10 years. You've got to be able to have a marketing budget to come to the table with.
Oh
So
my God. Yeah, especially fighting for new patients.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that is crazy. What about what about the dentists that are like seasoned and they're like you just said your friend was like, "Oh, don't mind his website. He's a great doctor." What would you
Right.
say to that doctor?
Right. Yeah, this is a pretty standard avatar of ours. And I call it's the practice that's probably the best kept secret in that community. And they'll come to us and say that like, Josh, we're probably the best practice. We've been around, the doctor's so well known. But we're like, and I'm like, yeah, you're the best kept secret. But like, why be a secret? Why not just be
Mhm.
out there with it? And so I think I think 10 years ago, look, I think right now you could build a practice just completely off of internal referrals and the location and involvement in your community. I think you can, but it's getting harder and harder to do. And that digital experience, I mean, guys, with what's happening with AI and just all the communication
Yeah,
integration with online scheduling, chat, patient forms, all the things, if your digital experience like isn't at that level, you don't even see it. It's missed
right.
opportunity costs. The
Yeah,
new patients that you never even know you're not getting
right.
because they land on your site and they're like, don't know about this guy and move on.
Right. Right. No, it's so true. It's so true. And when dentists call you, right? Because they're like, I need help getting patients through the door. If a practice wants more, like obviously new patients, that's why they're calling you in the first place. Do they ask you like how quickly? Because I could imagine a dentist who has hit a wall, kind of freaking out. Because I see it in our group, in
Yeah.
our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Like, I'm freaking out, my schedule's empty, right? And it's almost like reactive, right? They see suddenly an empty schedule,
Yep.
and the next few weeks are empty, and then it's a reaction, not a prevention. It's not a like proactive, it's a reactive. They call you, they're
Yes.
like freaking out. Josh, how long is this going to, can you do this real fast?
Yes. Yeah. Um, I tell people, okay, the best time to invest in marketing, well, it's like asking the question, when's the best time to plant a tree? The answer to that was 20 years ago. Um, the next best time is right now. So it's the same thing with
Mm,
marketing. It's like, okay, when do you call? It's like, well, if you're getting to a point where you're going, I need marketing, the realistic answer is you're probably too late. Like it should have been something
mhm.
that was invested in before. However, like, okay, let's go because marketing is never really a hammer hitting a plate of glass and everything just like we shatter the ceiling. People often look at it like I feel like this we get this a lot where it's almost like the magic pixie dust or the magic beans you throw on the ground and all of a sudden there's this
Yeah,
beanstalk. Marketing really doesn't work like that. It's the power of a thousand little drips. It's
yeah,
momentum. And
yeah.
so the question is like, well, how long does it take to build momentum?
Mm,
Um, yeah, I mean, can you get some, quick results in 90
mhm,
days? Probably, but I tell a lot of clients that work with us, the first year I think you're going to get through, especially with the creative projects being built as a foundation. You're going to get to the end of year one and go, okay, like, yeah, that was a great experience. Man, I really love the creative. I'm getting compliments on the website. I think it's working. Year two, you're going to get into it. Now all the marketing's kicking in and we're getting some momentum and Google ads are dialed in, SEO is getting traction. Year two, you're going to go like, okay, yeah, we're really starting to feel this. By year three, you're going to have that sense of, man, we've got so much momentum now. And
yeah.
that's really a accurate progression of maybe it doesn't take entirely 3 years, maybe it takes shorter, maybe it's longer, but like that type
Mhm,
of progression of how you're building it.
mhm,
Um, and which is why I come back to like investing in marketing, it should be a function of the business, regardless of whether or not you need it. Because if you
mhm.
don't need it and you stop, then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years later, you find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh no, we're slowing down, we're losing momentum.
Right,
How do we build that back? And it just takes
right,
time to do it.
right, right. I totally believe that. It just takes time. Like you said, you have to nurture it and grow it and water. It's like a plant.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you explain that to a new client or a new dentist or practice that comes to you, and all of a sudden they're gung ho because they're like, I've heard about this and I heard about that, and I want to do this strategy, I want to do that strategy, and they say, oh, and they maybe they come to you and they're like, Joshua, you know what? I already tried doing ads. I already tried
Yeah.
doing Google ads and I already tried doing Facebook ads and they're not working and I don't want to do them anymore. Like, what would you say to that person that's like, well, these are the reasons why your ads are failing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a good question. Because on one hand, I would say if you really need to get new patients in the next 30 to 90 days, digital ads are your number one go-to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is across the board, probably every agency in dentistry, that is going to be their go-to because they work. The
Mm-hmm.
average acquisition cost right now for a Google patient is about 250 to maybe 350, maybe
Mm-hmm.
$400 around the country. So, meaning if you gave me $300 to put into Google, I can get you one patient. If you give me
Mm-hmm.
1,500, we can get you five. Up to like Grace, we've got a practice right now. He just texted me Monday and said it was their 1 year anniversary. The
Mm-hmm.
goal was to go for as a startup, 18 ops. The goal was to go from 0 to 4 million in revenue in year one, and they hit 4,006,938 dollars.
Amazing.
Yeah, and but he was spending up to $100,000 a month in Google ads to
Mm-hmm.
hit that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very aggressive strategy. But so I'm saying that to give it validity of if you're saying ads don't work, I think the proper way to frame that is ads didn't work for me. So then we're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, why? And a lot of times what I look at is number one, the spend is right away. If you're below $1,500 a month, even that in competitive cities, it's just like it's just not enough anymore. And even post-COVID
Hmm.
and inflation, we find the tension just constantly rising, putting pressure on that. This last year, most of our Google ads, it was really interesting. I looked at some of the campaign stats, and overall, it was like that line had a steady decrease in it,
Hmm.
meaning they were getting less results. It was costing more. Some of that's just a effect of the economy and what
Hmm.
patients cost online to get. But
Hmm.
so the first thing I would do is look at your spend. Like you really got to be above 1500. I recommend 2500. Part of it is just getting enough clicks at the top of the funnel to get phone calls to convert to new patients. So like if you're, let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on a Google ad, that's $30 a day. You might get 2 clicks for that, but are two
Hmm.
clicks even enough to drive a phone call? Like it might not be. You might need
Hmm.
4 clicks a day to get one
Hmm.
phone call to give your team a chance to convert that new patient.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. The second thing I would look at is missed call rate.
Okay.
And I know this question is funny because whenever I ask it, everybody's like, "Oh, we do a great job answering our phones." I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Um, but and this is why I love like Mango phones so much, or a digital phone system where you can actually, because I've been on, I do some fractional CMO work, and some of the clients I work with, I'm like, well, let's just log into Mango, and they're like, oh, we're great, we're hardly missing anything. And then I go, in, I'm like, okay, it was 28% last month. No way.
Yeah. Oh
What?
my gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
like how
numbers
is that
don't lie,
happening?
right? Like,
They
yeah.
don't. And the truth is, like, we could look at it and go, well, a good portion of those are after hours or weekends. So, like, it's not to blame you completely. But here's my point. If you're spending $1,000 on Google Ads
Hmm.
and you're missing 28% of calls, you just lost. So your $1,000, you're losing 300 of that to
Yeah.
missed calls, that
Yeah.
30%. So now you really only invested 700.
Right.
And that's such a huge deal because the average practice is probably more in the mid 30s with what they're missing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so your ad budget could almost be cut in half without you even realizing it.
Mm. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
This is a technical question, but can you like turn off the ads when you know like no one's calling? Or, I mean,
Yeah.
like that's like a deeper dive question, but like, can you like strategically turn ads on and off to like when you want
Yeah.
them to go? Okay.
You can place hours and days and all that stuff. Here's the trade-off, especially with online scheduling. Knowing a lot of people are researching dentists after hours. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have, so you may want to have ads going because that's when the audience is the biggest. But then, yeah, you have to bet on them making an appointment, online,
Right.
digitally. But then if they can't, or they have issues, or there's specific questions, they may pick up the phone and call, and that's when they hit your voicemail. So
Okay.
it's a tricky spot. Like it really is. I
Okay.
think I'm hoping, AI agents here in the next I think there's a couple people out there that are really close, but I think in the next year or two, those getting to the point where they could be handling phone calls after hours.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you mentioned, right? Look at the ad spend because it might not be enough.
Yep.
And then look at the phone calls because then all the money that you're spending may not be actually giving you a return because you're not answering the calls or there's missed calls, right? So is there a third or a fourth or a fifth? Anything else
Yeah,
you
I
want
mean, it's so funny because I mean we can keep going down that line and go because I've worked with practices on this where okay, or you're missing 30% of your phone calls. The other thing is you're not pre-appointing these new patients that come in. Or you're pre-appointing at one practice I was working with. It was a 60% pre-appoint rate.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, okay, now we get these new patients in, but 40% of them may not ever come back again. So
Yeah.
so again, like take your Google ad spend and go, okay, we just reduced it $300 for missed calls. Now we're going to reduce it $300 to $400, another 40% because of we can't reappoint these and potentially get the year long or lifetime treatment value out of
Hmm.
that patient. So you can almost kind of go down the funnel, but typically if it's an ads problem, it's either the budget or from an agency perspective, being in it like just having a lot of competitor search terms getting eaten up, having a lot of self-branded terms like they're searching for your practice, like Green Tree Dental, they're punching that in and your ad is coming up. So you can see a lot of the budget get eaten up by that. If it's not that, it's usually missed calls and then it's pre-appoint.
Could you define for the listeners what pre-appoint means for those
Sorry,
that aren't
yeah.
know?
a new patient comes in to a hygiene exam, and then your ability to appoint them for the next one 6 months later, or 4 months, 3 months, whatever that rotation is. But yeah, having them on the books. Most practices, I would say, are really good at it. 95%, 98% higher is really the metric to look for. But when your team gets too busy or just doesn't care and they're getting sloppy with it, that
Hmm.
percentage can really dip.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure because, um, I've got like so many other questions for you, but I want to like stick to the plan here before I go off tangent. The thing about you had mentioned AI, right? And there might be in the future a really good AI type of answering service, et cetera. I feel, again, going back to what I see in my Facebook group, because that's what's relevant right now. I've seen questions like, who are you using for marketing, right? Dental marketing. And then some of the comments will be like, you don't need to have a dental marketing person. You could just ask Gemini or Claude or Chat, and then it will do it for you. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think I've got two takes. One is I think you always should be careful who you're listening to and whether that practice is what you aspire to be like.
Mm-hmm.
We both know this. There's a lot of DIY dentists online, especially on social, and I don't judge against that or say that that's
Mm-hmm.
wrong for them. They probably have built their own website and using AI, and
Mm.
just have done DIY. I mean, they're probably the ones in there painting the walls of the office and replacing trim. Like they want to get in and do everything themselves, and I
Mm-hmm.
I completely appreciate that. That may not be your practice, and they may be doing 7 or 800,000 in revenue a year, and you're a
Mm.
$2 million practice, but you're listening to that advice, and that
Right.
will not plug and play for you. So that's just
Right.
number one.
Right.
The second thing is, I think my personal take on it is, um, and this has been my experience the last 6 months. Clients don't have a problem with us as an agency using AI to make what we do better and more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they are going to want to work with agencies that actually understand it and are leveraging it to be on the edge. Um, I think it's with anything else. As a dentist, could you build your own website right now with AI? 100%. You probably could have done it a year or two ago. You could have done your own with Wix or Squarespace 5, 7 years ago. Is that the best thing for you and your practice and running a multi-million-dollar company? Maybe not. And I think AI is only going to make marketing get more and more complex. So you might be able to solve one piece of, hey, I've got AI running a Google ad campaign. Great. How that integrates to your website, to your patient communication tools, to all the other things is going to get more and more complicated. And I
Yeah.
don't know that we're going to get away from agencies specializing in that to come alongside dentists and help them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good
Well, can
question.
I mean, I want to add in there for my thoughts too, from as a dentist, once on multiple locations. I don't have time.
Well,
And
yeah.
nor, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have time to sit there and figure it out, nor do I want my staff to sit there and try to figure it out for me,
Yeah.
right? Because we all have our best use and unique abilities to do the things that we're supposed to be doing. And so I kind of want to put my 2 cents in that. Like, guys, dentists, owners, or associates, or whatever. Okay, what is your best use of time here? And wouldn't you want an expert to just take care of it for you? And, we've all heard of that book, Buy Back Your Time. And it's like, stay in your lane a little bit. Like, okay, if you love and you're passionate about social media, yes, do it if you love it. But this is not like, dental marketing isn't like a one-time thing. Like Josh said, it's like multiple touches, multiple drips, and you have to be consistent. And if you water your plant for a month and it survives, great. But then if you're gone for a week and don't touch it and you come back to it and it's dead, are you not surprised?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where I think I would have a problem if I were still to have my two practices or a third location. If I were trying to do it on my own, yeah, you know what? Am I smart enough to try to figure out how to do some of this stuff on my own? I probably could, but do I have the time for it? No. And
Yeah.
would I be consistent? To be honest, no. I would probably be gung ho for the first month and then forget about it and be like, oh, it's rolling, like the tape's rolling. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where I want to be kind of like truthful and transparent. And all of you listeners that are doctor business owners, you should be transparent with yourself. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. You know,
Yeah, I no, I think you're completely right. And Grace, the thing is, like, man, we do that at Studio 88. Every legitimate business outsources or uses partners or services or products to help them do the thing that they're meant to do. And so, I mean, could I sit down and, we're in tax season right now. Could I sit down and do my taxes myself?
right.
I could probably figure it out. Do I want to? No. So
Oh,
we pay an accounting agency a good amount of money to help support us in that process. And so I think, again, this goes back to that DIY mentality. I think it's great. And if that's you, no judgment, completely support it. There are a lot of dentists out there that are growing legitimate multi-million dollar businesses, and that thinking will cap and
mm-hmm,
limit where your
mm-hmm,
business goes to.
mm-hmm,
The bigger businesses get, the more partners, the more people, the more support they
mm-hmm,
work with to
mm-hmm,
actually allow them to do what they're supposed to do.
mm-hmm. Yes. And that's where I wanted to really drop that pearl because, like you said, that was a great analogy because you could sit there and figure out how to do your taxes, and you could probably sit there and read all this material and ask
Yep.
Gemini and whatever AI, okay, sir, what's the best way to save on tax? What are some tax strategies to implement? And it could give it
Yeah.
to you, but guess what? It could be illegal.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
and then you could get audited and in trouble, you know. But anyway, I also wanted to ask you if you have a new practice come to you. Let's say, guess what, Joshua? I'm starting a new practice. Uh, and it's my first one, but this is my budget. Can you plan around my budget? Like, do you get
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of times I kind of will just talk them through expectations. I think a lot of startups, they can go from zero to half a million, 600,000 year one, pretty predictably. And I'd say around the $30,000 that first year budget. A lot of that is the branding, the website, photo, video, just building the pieces to establish your digital presence. Practices that want to go from zero to a million in year one, they're a little bit more aggressive. Typically, I'm going to put that budget more like 70 to 90,000, and we're going to look at a Google ad campaign. We're going to kind of reverse engineer how many new patients you think it's going to take to hit that mark, how many of those are going to
Hmm.
come from internal word of mouth, how many do we need to rely on outside sources, and then just create a budget for that. And then all the way up to, I mean, yeah, we've taken one from 0 to 3 million in year one, and that was about a 60 to $70,000 a month budget. I just mentioned the one we took from 0 to 4 million. We've got another one that wants to go from 0 to 3, and we've got a couple right now that want to go from 0 to 2. So a lot of it's just reverse engineering what you need and kind of creating a budget. But so many practices are like, man, if I could hit 600,000 year one, I'm thrilled. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't take six figures to do that for sure.
And then what do you say to the dentist who's seasoned and says, you know what, I want to rebrand, or I'm adding a second location or a third location, and they're like, we've gotten this far, but we feel like we need like, to do CPR here.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, if they're adding a second location, a lot of times the conversation with me is just how fast do you want it to cash flow? Like how much runway do you have? Do you want this to be the same organic growth that you had with your original practice, where it was 3 to 5 years before you kind of were like, okay, like now we're steady and things are going well, or do you want to accelerate that? Marketing is it's either energy or it's money. Like marketing is momentum, and so when you think about it like that, there's got to either be a force behind it pushing it. There has to be a force, and that force is either you getting out and hustling, which a lot of us did. A lot
Hmm.
your clients, your
Yeah.
doctors did with just starting a practice. We just get out and
Right.
hustle, and a
Right.
lot of times that's adequate. If you don't have the time to do that, or you don't want to take the time to get out there and hustle, then you have to invest money into it to power it.
Right. Right.
So if you got the runway to let it grow organically 2 or 3 years, great. If you're like, I really want to cut my losses as soon as possible and get this profitable,
Yeah.
let's go forward with an
Yeah.
investment.
Well, I love that you have options and strategies and different, different things for different groups, right? Like
Yeah.
of people and offices. What? because you've seen so many, and what you just said, like of hustling, it just took me back way back when. Because when
Yeah.
I started, I didn't have any of this, right? Like I
Yeah.
was hustling. Like, I was on the street passing out my business cards, like I felt like I was
Yeah.
that person on Vegas Strip being like, here's my card. I'm going to like
Yeah.
every park. And I didn't even have kids. And people are like, dude, you don't even have kids. What are you doing here? And I'm like, here's toothbrushes and business cards. Every kid on this in this park right on this swing needs to come see me. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's what we were doing back then because there was no such thing as paid ads or any ads.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how the world worked, and that was how we worked, right? But now that the world has evolved, everyone has to evolve with it, right? And what are some, I guess, ingredients that you have seen in these practices that are going from 0 to 4, 0 to 2, or whatever they make their goal and they hit it consistently? Do you see something in their practice, not necessarily just the dentist owner, because you must see like consistent like characteristics of all those practices that make them successful because marketing is one thing, right? It gets the patient in the door, but then the magic really happens
Yeah.
once they're there.
Yep. Yeah, you can't outmarket a bad patient experience. Like you just can't. And even an average patient. Like so I would say the practices that really have been able to grow like that, they realize that maintaining that patient base costs way less than the marketing that they're spending to get them in. And so really starting with engineering, choreographing a great patient experience and and I would say that it's more than just how the patient walking into the practice. It's really how you're communicating with them on the front end. It's the interior design of the practice and the decor. I think
Mhm.
so many. This is something I've seen, and it's really hard to address this when somebody comes to you
Mhm.
and they're having trouble growing,
Mhm.
and you see the interior of their practice, and it's from 1988 or
Mhm.
1992, and you're just like, I'm just telling you, new patients walking in here, it's a disconnect and it's going to be hard for them to stay.
Mhm.
Healthcare practices in 2026 are just at a different level aesthetically. And so
Mhm.
if you're one of those practices, you've been around 20, 30 years, you were this great practice, but you sense yourself slowing and losing momentum, this is a really practical thing to look at. But when was the last time you renovated the inside of the
Right.
practice?
Right.
And that's a hard conversation to have because sometimes they're just like, I want to talk about marketing, like renovation. Like I don't want, and I'm like, it's
Mm.
but the renovation is part of the message and the story that you're
Mhm.
telling.
Mhm.
And so I think there's so many things like that that play into it.
So what I'm hearing is that it all needs to thread together. Like it needs to be consistent, right? Like
Yeah,
from your
thank you.
marketing at like the language to the photos to even the
Yeah,
colors and like just the look and feel it has to match whatever you put out digitally when they come in, it needs to be matched so they're not like surprised. It's kind of like Match.com back in the day. You go
yeah,
on this date and you're like,
yeah,
dude, that's not your photo.
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean we've all done that. We've all met people in real life and we're like, "Oh, you look different on digitally online." Uh no, Grace, that's it's you actually said it way more intelligently. So thank you. Brand consistency. If I was to answer that question, the practices that really grow and are hitting all their goals, brand consistency from the marketing to the interior to the patient experience to the follow-up, like you're setting a standard and you're making sure every area across that practice is hitting that standard.
Well, I was just laughing to myself in my head because I was like, well, I guess you could just brand yourself as like the vintage crotchety
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
dentist. If
Yeah.
you like the 70s, I'm your person.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my, well, there might be a market for that, who
Yeah. No,
knows?
yeah, that's the other part of it is yeah, just lean into it and own it.
Well, no, because I was walking down in Laguna Beach and I saw this old barber shop. It's like the old school barber shop, right? With the
Yeah.
stripes, but inside it's all vintage and old.
Yeah.
And he had all the tools that were old. Like he was
Yep.
doing the old school barber shop thing.
Yeah.
And it works for him because that's
Yeah.
what his clients want. So I was
Right.
like,
But the difference is if it's intentional,
right,
it works, right? But then
right,
the
right,
website represents that.
right,
Like everything represents that. Even
right.
the what they're wearing, on the other
Exactly.
side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's when I think we've gone into practices before and we've shot, like the photographer goes in and they still have the all the charts, behind them on the wall at the front
Yes.
desk, and they're like, "Can you guys Photoshop that out?" And we have and we've done it, but but like if that is the position you're in of can we Photoshop the practice to look nicer for this online image, but then when they walk
Right.
in, that's where we're starting. If you feel that disconnect
Yeah.
anywhere in the practice, that's
Yeah.
where you need to address those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to share a story real quick and we'll end the podcast soon, but you guys listening. So, I I wanted to find an acupuncturist near
Yeah.
me. And when I first got here, I did find one, but then I stopped going. And then I was like, you know what? In the back of my mind, it's there because it's not like urgent. It's not like, oh my. So I feel like dentistry is kind of like that, right? Like if it doesn't hurt, it's not urgent. I'll find someone, I'll get there. And, you know, for the past month, when I'm on Instagram and my kids call me out, they're like, Mom, you're doom scrolling. And I'm just sitting there. I'm completely ignoring them. They know I'm ignoring them. And I'm just sitting there with them. I'm like, you know what? I'm here with you guys. They're like, yeah, but you're not like paying attention. I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm still here. And I'll just like doom scroll on my Instagram. And I see this acupuncturist lady, and she's hilarious. And she is of Chinese descent, I think. And she shows up in her scrubs and she does these funny videos. And I watch them like, and I'm not looking for her. It's like every time, like the next day I get on, she kind of pops up in my feed, right? Because I follow her now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, and so, but the thing is, it's almost subliminal, like subliminal, because not every video applies to me, but I'm just watching it and I don't
Right.
know why, right? So then I'm like, you know what? Why am I not making an appointment, right? So I tell my assistant, I took a screenshot. I'm like, can you go find her and make me an appointment?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I yesterday went because it was the first day, Tuesday was the only day I could go this week. So I like was driving there and I'm like, okay, I'm excited to meet this woman because she's so funny. But
Yeah.
she doesn't work on Tuesdays. But my assistant didn't tell me that because I wasn't like
Yeah.
specific. But that was okay. I was like, fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But because I kind of on video trusted this woman, I just automatically trusted whoever's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had no expectations of what the office looked like because she doesn't film her office, right? So I had no expectation. I just went, I got my treatment, and at the end, they're like, "Here's your goodie bag, bottle of water, and snacks." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is great!" But it's an old, like a small little, like Eastern medicine type of office, but they have snacks out in the front, and they were warm,
Yeah.
welcoming, and everything like kind of matched. And I'm like thinking, if I were going to open up a dental office, right? And again, 15, 14 years ago, there was no such thing as Instagram even at that time.
Yeah.
I would be posting these videos because
Yeah.
and because they work. But what do you say to the dentist who's like, "Oh hell no, I am not doing
Right.
videos."
I know. I know. No, that's such a great point, and this is a much bigger conversation. This is an AI conversation because TikTok started this with the algorithm shift, maybe a couple years ago, and honestly, it's all driven by AI, and then Instagram saw it and immediately shifted. But social media it's less social media anymore, and it's more
Okay.
interest media. And
Okay.
so, like, you're probably like me, I'm not seeing as much stuff from my friends. Like, usually it used to be just what my friends were posting in
Right.
chronological order, and you would scroll through
Right.
it.
Right.
And then they started messing around with the chronological part to create more
Okay.
relevance. But now it's like, oh my gosh, if I stop on a political post too long, I'm like, no, 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 no. Because then all of a sudden, like the next day,
Yeah, you're
I'm getting,
buried.
yeah, I'm getting all this
Yeah.
political stuff. And so, but at the same time, um, oh shoot, man, there was something I bought the other day, and it was just because it was like we think you might be interested in this. And so the algorithms have shifted to they're realizing that your engagement is more about like the things you're interested in and even giving you an ability to like learn stuff and get into spaces. And
Mhm.
so I shared this at your event a couple weeks ago, but yeah, you produce a video, like a pediatric dentist produces a video about maybe like how they treat autistic kids in a pediatric practice and dealing with the anxiety of the child, but also the parent. So if you were to create a video where it's like, like right at the start, a hook, like autistic kids going to the dentist. And so if that's even of interest to you, you're stopping immediately to watch that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, number one, those algorithms are going to be feeding you that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
secondly, people are searching that way on AI more. It's that nuance of the searches. It's
Mhm.
not top pediatric dentist anymore. It's going to ChatGPT or Claude and saying, my child is autistic. I need a pediatric dentist that has experience with autistic children because we've had some bad experiences in the past.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not concerned about distance. I'm willing to travel,
Mm.
15, 20 miles, but
Mhm.
I want dentists that are experienced with autistic kids. So you're going to type all that into an
Mhm.
LLM
Mhm.
and they're going to return, like they're going to say, well, there's this person's creating TikTok videos and match that up.
Mhm.
So whether or not you want to produce those videos, I get it. And as the doctor kind of front person for the
Mhm.
practice, doesn't have to be you, but
Mhm.
thinking through a strategy of how do
Mhm.
we create content like that because video
Mhm.
is not going to go anywhere.
Well, so do you coach? Can you help a dentist get comfortable doing video? Like, does your team,
Yeah.
say, Dr. Yum, we're going to walk you through this. We're going to coach you. We're going to teach you how to do these videos so that you're comfortable and kind of like hold your hand for the first few videos. And then you're on your, like, not you're on your own, but like you'll get used to it. Like, will
Yeah.
your team do that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things we realized early on is the best way is to just talk off camera. A lot of
Hmm.
people, when they see a camera in front of them, they almost become different people. It's funny. We get that real robotic nature where we're like, here at Peachtree Dental, and yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. You put people in front of a camera and they just get different. So a lot of times, like our team is, the camera may be facing you, but you're gonna have a conversation with a person off camera. And I think
Hmm.
really setting these up, so even if you were to DIY this, it's
Hmm.
like get a team member just with an iPhone to film something, but stage it like your chair side and even put one of your team in the chair or like in a consult room or even they're off camera so you can't see them, but you're talking to somebody
Hmm.
because that's so much more natural. And any dentist can sit down with a couple bullet points and a question and
Hmm.
talk about a subject very intelligently.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
figuring out how to capture that in a way that makes you comfortable
Hmm.
and you don't feel like you're this, "Oh, I got to be an Instagram influencer." I'm like, you
Hmm.
don't. We're just trying to connect with patients.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad you said connect and Studio 88, your whole thing is about telling your story, like right, storytelling, market
yeah,
driven marketing, right? And I wanted to point out because a couple of things, right? Because just rewind for a minute because you said a patient who has an autistic child is going to put into okay, and for people listening again, if you don't know what LLM, can you tell what
yeah,
that is? What is that?
yeah. LLM is what ChatGPT and Claude are. It stands for large language models. It's usually the AIs we're interacting with for search and text, copy, that type of stuff.
So I noticed that when you said that patients will enter in, and it was like like a couple of sentences. You said, "I'm
Yeah,
looking for a dentist." So to me, what it sounded like was almost like you were saying a patient will type in a question to AI as if it's their friend, because the question on Google is not the same question, right?
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, Google, yeah, we know Google is not really, I don't know, it was never set up to be our friend, so we're not interacting it that way. And it's keyword, like at this point we've learned it, so it's just keyword responsive. So we're like top pediatric dentist. That's the only thing Google needs. LLMs or like ChatGPT, especially just speaking to it, is so crazy. I keep challenging myself to do that because I'll sit down and start typing, and I'm like, just hit the microphone and go, "Hey, okay, so I'm looking for a pediatric dentist, and here's and just like talk and ramble, and then hit return, and it processes everything."
Okay,
So
can I just say you're a step ahead of me? I haven't even used the microphone
yeah,
yet.
it's it's so efficient and time saving that I'm like, why am I typing everything? But yeah,
Okay.
it's a habit switch for sure.
So that's my homework today. I'm going to use that
Yeah,
microphone and then I'm going to give my listeners some homework here. Okay.
yeah,
I would say our listeners now, okay, because you've been on so many times that these listeners are your listeners too. So, our listeners are going to get some homework from me and Joshua today. Homework number one is go to whatever tablet device or whatever and open up, let's just say Gemini, because that's probably the easiest thing they'll find,
yeah,
right? If they've
yeah,
never done it, right? And then What question should they ask?
I mean, if they've never used it before,
Yeah.
I would just whatever. I, here's what I would do. I would go into your browser and I would set Gemini as the default tab.
Okay.
So instead of you defaulting this old habit of going to Google and typing stuff in, force yourself for a week or a day, whatever, but give
Okay.
yourself a sample size of every time you go to search something, just search it in Claude or Gemini or whatever, and just see how you feel about the experience and the return results.
Okay.
But yes, so whatever you're going to search for next, just make sure you're doing it in that platform. Maybe put a post-it note on your desk, like use
Okay.
Gemini.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that would be the first step to use that. Second step is switch over to the voice mode because even it'll even give you it'll give you the results. It'll speak the results back to you too.
Really?
And oh
It'll
yeah,
talk to me?
oh yeah, so like if I don't know if you take walks, but sometimes when the
Yeah.
weather I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and when the weather's nice, Joanna and I like to get out for walks. But yeah, you can just
Okay.
start having a conversation with it with your AirPod in or whatever, and just say, and you could do
Okay.
a whole research project on your walk, and it'll give you, and then you can ask other questions and follow ups, and well, can you take that piece and go deeper? And it's that part gets wild because you're really interacting with somebody vocally and getting
Okay.
responses back. So
Okay. All right. So there you have it, you guys. That's your homework. You're going to open up the browser and use it and try it and use the voice and then get back to us and let us know how it goes because
yeah,
we want to know. But I also want to give you a second piece of homework. Ask the AI, pretend you're a new patient looking for you. And so ask it a question and see if the AI will pull you up. Because if
yeah,
the AI doesn't pull you up, you guys, you need to call Joshua like stat.
yeah, yeah,
Because now we have a problem. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I forgot about this. I drove my kids to school this morning. Okay. My daughter is 13. She's in seventh grade. My son is 11 and he's in the sixth grade. Okay. And I just recently, don't judge me. Okay. I just recently bought this water bottle that's electric that you put distilled water in it and it bubbles it up and extra hydrogenates it.
yeah,
Okay. I know it's woo woo, but I got this idea from my friend.
yeah.
She was like, no, I swear by it. And so I bought it. It's $300, you guys. Okay.
Mm.
And but at least I got it on Amazon. So if I have to return it, I will. But
Yes.
so I fizz the water. It takes 10 minutes and you're supposed to drink it within 4 hours and the fizz dies, right? And it's supposed to help your metabolism and then make your brain fog go away. I'm in the car and my son is like, dude, mom, you're scammed. What is this? You're totally scammed. Because I couldn't tell them what the benefits were.
Yeah.
So my daughter's in the front seat. She goes on and she starts to like look into it, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, did you Google it? And then my son goes, dude, don't Google it. And she's
Yeah.
like, don't worry, I asked Gemini. And I'm like, what are you two, you're in six and seven. What are you guys doing on Gemini asking Gem? They immediately knew not to go on Google. And I go, why did you not go on Google? To my
Yeah.
son, he goes, because then it's just sponsored ads that are going to tell you what it is to tell you to buy their product, mom, as if
Yep.
I was stupid.
They've already claimed AI as their generation, and anybody else older, they're like, yeah, you don't get it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying the
Yeah.
sixth grader, the middle schoolers are using it and they're using it
Oh yeah.
properly, more properly than I am.
Yep. Yeah, I love your if I were you, I would go search how would you search for a dental practice in your community? Don't do your brand, don't use branded words or your practice, but just see what comes up. That would be huge and telling on whether or not you're matching those types of searches. And then go have some fun and use it to meal plan your week. Tell what
Okay.
what you want to do
Yeah.
or what you even have in the refrigerator or what you typically like to eat and
Yeah.
meal plan it. And it's crazy just the amount of things you can start to get into. But I
Well,
have all my supplements, vitamins, medication. I have a tab
mm,
called my supplement stack. So
mm-hmm.
everything's in there. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, even websites with the references. And I was like, tell me how I should be taking these, like what should be taken together, what time throughout the day, any cross, what's that word?
Really?
Yeah, like any you know how drugs can offset each other or
Yeah,
supplements
yes,
like is there
yes.
any of that? So it put together like so it's like here's your morning routine, your lunch routine, and your night routine with all the supplements. And then if I pick something up, I just add it. I'm like, hey, I'm adding this supplement. Where does it fit best? Does it interact with anything else? So yeah, it's yeah, so that's fun.
So you know what? Thank you for that because I'm going to go take a picture of my medicine cabinet now because
Yeah,
do you know how many supplements are just sitting there?
yeah,
And I'm the person that doom scrolls and sees an Instagram ad and then buys a
yeah.
supplement and then it comes in the mail and then I'm too scared to take it. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's just sitting there
Because you're
and
like,
I
what does
have
this do?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
didn't even unpeel the plastic.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go do that now. See? Okay, that's my
Yeah,
homework.
and even if you put everything in there and scanned it, and then just said what, like what isn't necessarily like what are the most highly beneficial things here? What's moderate? What's low benefit? And even just make some, decisions and along those lines. Like it's especially if you put the websites in and it can pull all the information. It's
Okay.
amazingly intelligent.
Okay. Well, all right. All right, kiddos. We're gonna jump off now because I know that you're all like, you guys, my to-do list is so
Yeah.
long.
Yes.
So we didn't mean to waterboard you with all or water hose you or whatever the saying is, but
Torture.
you got yeah, we just take what the pearls of today's lesson and apply a couple of things and then get back to us. We want to hear. So, Joshua, I know that you gave us some tidbits and that you have given us some great pearls today. If people are interested in seeking you out, what is the best way that they can come find you?
Yeah, the best way to learn more about Studio 88 is our website. It's sae8.com, the letter S, the number 8, the letter E, the number 8.com. Me personally, I'm on Instagram at Joshua Scott. I'm still in my account. So, yeah, DM me, message me there. Tell me you listened to this episode. Would love to hear from you. And if I can ever help with anything, just please reach out.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And I hope that if anything, you got a few good laughs. So, with that in mind, I'm going to say goodbye. And I hope you know that Joshua is coming to our studio. Our Studio 88 is coming to our social summit event,
Yes.
which is in the fall in Washington, D.C. And if you want to meet them face to face, that's your opportunity. And if you're not coming to Summit, then you need to come to Summit. So get your ticket at mommydibs.com. We have our tickets for sale. Hey, we have less than 20 seats left, you guys. So you need to get on it. And you don't want to miss out and don't have FOMO. And thank you. And Joshua, I don't know if you've seen any of or maybe Joanna has. I'm doing Korean words of the day. I don't know if you
Okay.
saw any of that.
No.
Okay, well, it's hilarious. I don't know if anyone on your team watches K-drama or is into Korean pop
Yes.
culture.
Yep.
Okay, so the last word I'm going to I did it yesterday. I did a quick video, and
Okay.
you can take this to your team.
Okay.
Really easy word, and it means like really, like did you really do that? It's a
Okay.
surprise reaction. So if somebody says to you, "I completed this project," and they did it in 2 days rather than a week, you might be like incredulous, like really? And the word is 진짜, and then you say 진짜 like a question.
Okay.
So it's
Jincha.
Jin, Jin, cha,
Jin.
like you're doing the cha cha. So Jin,
Yeah.
like you're
Jincha.
drink, yeah, drinking gin. So it's like jincha, and you say it like a question. So
Okay.
go back, and they're gonna die laughing.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
I'll do
All
that. My
right.
daughter's into that too, so I'll do that to her too. And
Yeah.
she'll roll her eyes at me and be like, "Dad, stop."
No, no, no. If she comes back and says like I got an A or something or whatever, or like she
Yeah.
did something, you should be like jincha. Or if they come back and like, yeah, I washed my hands. I do it to my kids all the time. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Have a good one. Bye,
See ya.
everyone.